Great. Good morning, New England. For those of you that joined us this morning, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. We are so lucky to have Mo Anderson here with us today on Giving Tuesday. Mo, thank you for being here. Thank you for being in New England.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and everybody excuse my voice. I have a little bit of laryngitis.
Not a problem. So we're going to start off. We're able to gather some questions this morning from all of our associates in New England that we're going to ask you today. But before we get started, I see Sam is on. Rhonda, I'm not sure if you're on. We heard this great story from Sam out of Newport about giving back, and today's Giving Tuesday, and we have a couple questions for you as well with that. But Sam, if you want to just take a quick minute and let everybody here that wasn't on this morning what you're doing for Giving Tuesday and how they can help.
Sorry, there's just someone making the call in the office.
No problem.
So one of my clients, actually two of them at this point, they're the CEO and COO of United Way of Rhode Island. United Way is a national organization, and they are part of the Rhode Island specific branch. They cover, they're basically the fundraising arm for a lot of different nonprofit type ventures, and cover basically anything that you can think of that would happen in our community here. We got bonused an unexpected amount on the commission from the listing agent for doing a good job. And we had already intended to donate a portion of the commission back to United Way, since it was an employee of theirs and a referral directly from one of their other employees. We decided to fully donate the entirety of that bonus that we received. And we're looking to raise a total of $6,500 for United Way of Rhode Island. So we'd be matching any of the donations up to $6,500.
That's incredible. So Sam's going to go ahead and put his info in the chat for more information if you're interested in giving back today with Sam. And Mo, in honor of Giving Tuesday, one of the questions we got this morning, and let's just start here. What is your favorite way to give back?
I do it through giving to my favorite charities and my favorite ministries. And of course, KW Cares and KW Kids Can are included in that list. And so many young people want to start a 501c3. And I think that's just so admirable and wonderful. But the reality is we have probably too many 501c3s in the world today, and we need more people creating jobs so people can make money and take a tithe and support these 501c3s. United Way is one of my favorites. I give to United Way in Oklahoma, and I have on occasion to United Way in Austin. But in Oklahoma City, there's a women's group that supports United Way. And I'm telling you, boy, do we raise the money. They would be lost without us. So I encourage young people to keep working and choose a 501c3 that's already out there that needs the help. And of course, United Way would be a great one to choose. Just always remember, whenever you give to a charity, interview that charity, look at their financials, and one of the most important things to look at is to see what percentage of their gifting goes to administrative costs. I have been so disappointed in the Red Cross percentage that goes to administrative costs. It's way too much. And when that charity knows that you're keeping an eye on them, they do a better job of controlling those costs. So don't forget that.
Do you have
Did I
any sort?
answer that okay?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Do you have any guidelines for everyone here today about what is, as someone who's worked with so many charities, what a good percentage of administrative percentage?
I would love to see it not exceed 6%.
Okay, good to know in researching. Thank you. So Mo, what keeps you inspired every day? Who's your biggest inspiration?
Well, right now, Enos Cantor is my huge inspiration. Do any of you know who he is? Andrew, unmute yourself and tell us who he is.
I'm not a sports fanatic, so I don't know his actual. I know he plays in the NBA, and he became a U.S. citizen this week, and he changed his name to Enes Kanter Freedom.
Yes.
And he loves this country.
Yes, he is just inspiring me till I just hardly know. I can hardly stand it. He became a citizen, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before. And he's from Turkey. And you know, we have a lot of agents in Turkey. And he has spoken out against the Turkish government because they're well, they're doing a lot of things wrong, but what government isn't? I guess is the question. But anyway, because he spoke out against them, they have his parents. They first imprisoned his parents, but now his parents are under house arrest. His sister is a medical doctor and she's unable to get a job. His father was a professor at one of the Istanbul universities. He's been fired. And boy, Enos is after him. He's gonna get his family freed or die trying. And I so admire his courage. He used to be on the Oklahoma City Thunder team. And I just love to watch him play because when I'm in town, I do have season tickets. And now he's speaking out against China and the bad things they're doing. And I just think he's just got the courage we all should have. And he does it in such a good way, doesn't he, Andrew? He speaks with love toward his country, but he speaks with honesty about what's right and wrong. And so right now, he's the one that keeps me inspired. Now, that's in my life generally. Now, the one who keeps me inspired in my family life is our little 14-month-old great granddaughter. I'm just the worst great grandmother ever. You know, I just am loony over her. I thought grandchildren were the greatest, but I'm here to tell you, when that fourth generation comes along and the Lord has let you live long enough to see that, it's really, really, really special. So that's what inspires me.
So sweet. I thought this was a great question from this morning. It's personally my favorite, coming out of Cape Cod from Laura Strunk. She's our team leader there. If you were to write another book, what would it be about? As if your first book wasn't great enough already. If you were going to write a second one, what would you write it about?
Okay. Before I answer that, Timothy Lindsay said that Enos plays on the Celtics team, and they encourage Enos. So I'm really proud of the Celtics because they're not trying to cancel him or shut him down. Okay, what would I write about if I wrote a book? Well, I've thought of several things, and Dave Jenks, when he was alive, he encouraged me a lot to consider another book. He wanted me to write a book on how you build culture in how you build a values-based culture in a secular business. There are other people who have asked me if I would be willing to write a book on how to have a long marriage, because, you know, Richard and I married when we were 20 and we're 84. So I guess we're going on 65 years. Come August of next year, it'll be 65 years. And, but I want to tell you, writing A Joy-Filled Life took me about 9 years because, you know, I'd do a little bit and then I'd get discouraged and think I'm not a writer. And so it was a real struggle for me to write that book. And I'm really proud of it. I think it turned out really good.
I'd say so too.
And I think we've sold about 45,000 copies. And Gary was so surprised because I don't think, you know, he thought I would do really well unless he controlled the book. And I wanted to own the book. I didn't want his publishing company to own it. I wanted to own it. So, I mean, he's sold millions of books, but he's a real author. I'm a one-time author because I'm just not sure I want to take that on again. You know, being almost 85, I'm going on 85. I think, do I really want to make that kind of a commitment when, you know, I don't know how many years I have left, and I don't want it to be me cowered, locked up in my house trying to write another book because the first one was really hard for me to write.
So thinking about that, thinking about a book about culture and a long-lasting marriage, could you give us maybe one piece of advice around culture and one piece of advice around marriage?
Well, yes, I can. A lot of people would probably disagree with this, but marriage and love is really a choice that you make. You do have a honeymoon period, and what happens so many times nowadays is when that honeymoon period is over, because it goes away. Trust me, it eventually goes away. For some, it only takes a year. For some, you know, it might be 10 years, but the honeymoon part, I call it the lust part. I want you to laugh at that because I'm trying to be funny. I don't think I was very funny.
We're laughing. I can see Erica and myself. I know we're laughing.
I think Cassie's laughing, Mo, because she just got married this year. So she's entrenched in that honeymoon phase.
I'd like to think
now.
we're still in the honeymoon phase. We'll see. I'll let you know when it's over.
Yeah.
So 365 days and counting.
You know, for I think a very few people, it may last, many, many, many years. For us, the honeymoon period didn't last 64 years. And after that, for us, it has become more of a friendship and a lot of respect. And Richard has been a great encourager to me. So it kind of changes. But you see, what made our marriage last so long is we were married in a church, and we were married in front of an altar where we made a commitment to God. We were going to hang in there till death do us part. And I'm serious enough about my faith that I wouldn't ever break a commitment that I had made to my creator. I just wouldn't. And there have been times when I really wanted to, if you want to know the truth. And, but I knew from the day I made that promise that I was going to hang in no matter what, no matter what. So I think it's a choice, and it just depends on the kind of person you are, because I'm kind of the kind of person that hangs in there, like with Keller Williams, when things were really rough at the beginning of Keller Williams. I thought, no, I'm not quitting. We're going to make this company work. And so a lot, I think, too, depends on how you're made up and who you are. Now, that was marriage, and the other one was
Culture.
building a culture.
Mhm.
It is my deep personal belief that in order for you to build a culture in a secular company, you have to have a cultural leader who has a deep, deep faith, one who will pray for that secular company, one who will create the kind of vision that doesn't cause division, but causes people want to come together. And all of you know that my vision was, I wanted everybody. I wanted people of different skin colors. I wanted people of all different religions. I wanted people in our company of all different political views. And I wanted to prove to the world that we could love each other, care about each other, and have each other's backs. And that it wasn't about stuffing our religion down somebody's throat. It was creating a vision that we all have something in common. And what we have in common is to create a career worth having, a business worth owning, a life worth living, experiences worth giving, and a legacy worth leaving. And another thing that we have in common is that it's whatever your faith is, it's your faith first, your family, and then the business comes second. And I've known for a long time that if you have a commonality of belief, like the Y4C2Ts, then you can take diverse groups of people and you can show the world what it's like to have a market center where you have each other's backs and you genuinely care about each other and you genuinely care that everybody succeeds, because in our business model, when they do, guess what gets bigger? Profit sharing. And in order to do that, you have to have someone in your market center who casts that vision. And it's oftentimes the team leader, Occasionally, it might even be the cultural ambassador. I've seen that happen before. Or it could be the cultural committee. I mean, it can be a combination of a lot of people. But I think it works best when the vision is cast by the team leader, because all you have to do is start becoming a culture watcher and then share the cultural stories. That's how you grow culture, is to share the stories. When you see someone doing something kind and good and honorable for someone else or the market center, you tell the whole world.
I love that. I like what Scott had just put in the chat. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Ooh, who said that?
Scott Townsend.
Oh, there it is. Oh, Scott, here's a kiss and a hug. I love that. If you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, you go together. And that is the truth.
And looks like I have to give credit where credit is due. It's Katie Foley logged in using Scott's account. So Katie, I know you're working with Scott, so we give all of you, both of you, all the credit. You guys have a great culture going on up there as well.
That's awesome. That is great.
So Mo, I have this next question actually from quite a few people today. And they want to know what you're currently reading and or currently listening to.
Well, right now I'm reading a book, Why America is Free. And it's actually a textbook for some school, but I love the way it's written. I love the photographs. It's a beautiful little book. And I happened to get my hands on a copy from a group who had a few copies left. And I understand it's out of print and not being published anymore. And it's probably the best simple history book I've ever read. And it's a book where the history has not been doctored up or changed. It's the really true history of America, the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, it's the truth. And I just love that little book, and I'm about halfway through it right now. And then I have read Jim Stovall's new book. I finished it in one afternoon. I don't know if you all remember who he is, but he spoke at our cultural summit one year, and he's blind. Do any of you remember him when we had mega camp? Oh, Erica does. Wasn't he wonderful, Erica?
I cried.
Oh, he's just magnificent.
It was a remarkable story.
And he wrote a book that I make my grandkids watch the movie. They made a movie of the book, and James Garner starred in it. James Garner died a few years ago, but it was called The Ultimate Gift. And this book is going to be made into a movie. And this book is called The Will to Win. And it's the story of a high school in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where Jim lives, is in Tulsa. And it's called Will Rogers High School. Well, a lot of kids in the younger generation have no clue who Will Rogers is or was. I hope you all do, because he was an amazing person. And the story centers around their high school softball team. And they had an amazing pitcher. And then they got the word that girls softball was going to be cut out because of budget cuts. And she was really interested in learning a lot about Will Rogers, and it's a fictional story. But in the story, she sees him. Nobody else can see him. You know, he's been dead for years. But in the story, she can actually see him. And we know it's fictional. And he will give her little tidbits of advice because that's what Will did in the day he was so popular in the United States, well, and the world. So they're going to make it into a movie. So when that movie hits the theaters, Will to Win, you be sure and go see it because it's been written by my wonderful friend. He was 2 weeks ago, Jim Stovall was inducted, Erica, into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. And we had a big reception for him. And it was just such an exciting evening. And my friend introduced him, presented him to the Hall of Fame. There was a famous Nashville music producer who was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Blake Shelton introduced him, and Blake had a horrible speech. He was a mess. I know what he did. He put it off till the last minute and didn't really prepare. And it was the worst presentation speech I've ever heard. If I ever get to meet him, I'm going to tell him I want to be his speech writer.
Oh no.
Oh, we were all laughing about it. And here comes Jim Stovall. And then his gal gave him, she knocked it out of the ballpark. It was so good. And you people who know him from Keller Williams, you would be so proud. And it was just a glorious night. And but before, well, at the beginning of Hall of Fame, they introduced all of the former Hall of Fame members who happened to be there. And of course, I was introduced first because my name starts with an A. And so I stood up when they, talked about me. And right after Jim Stovall was introduced, all of a sudden there was somebody tapping me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and this beautiful woman looked up at me and said, "Mo," she says, "my name is," and I've forgotten her name, but she says, "I'm from a Keller Williams Market Center in Illinois." She was from the Chicago area, but she's moving to Austin. They're building a home in the Lake Travis area. And she was just so proud of Jim. She was there because she's a real close friend of this Nashville music producer. And I said, "Honey, give Blake Shelton a message for me. Tell him he needs to work on his speeches." She laughed hysterically and said, "Wasn't he awful?" Anyway, that was really fun to meet a Keller Williams agent at, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame.
Yeah, very cool.
And that was fun.
All right. Well, our time with you, unfortunately, is just about up for today. But what's the message that you want to leave everyone here in New England with?
Well, I want you to begin to get your mindset about business between now and the end of the year, because mindset is everything. Remember, I think I told you, if I didn't, I'll tell you again, the Michigan agent who called me during COVID, and he's one of our really, really big agents. And he said, Mo, I'm so discouraged. I'm never going to have another deal in my life because, you know, his state was so locked down. And I talked to him about mindset, and I talked to him about he had to change that mindset or he wouldn't have any business. And he ended up changing his mindset and setting a goal. And he set a goal to get 12 listings in 1 week by
Wow.
calling his database. And he ended up getting 13.
Wow.
And
13 listings in 1 week.
And he would just call them, and there were all these people out there wanting to sell. So he figured out ways to, you know, to get everything done as much virtually as he could. And then I think he snuck out of his house a time or two, and did what he needed to do to complete those listings. But he got so busy during the pandemic, it was just crazy. And so you need to make sure, because sometimes Christmas distracts us, Christmas and Hanukkah and all these things that happen, because we get real excited about Christmas time and Hanukkah and all of the events that occur. So you have to get your productivity mindset going. And remember, you can do wonders by calling your database. And then really hit the ground running come the first of the year. That's
Love
what
that.
you need to do, boys and
right.
girls.
New England, you heard Mo. Go hit the ground running in December to launch off your 2022. Enjoy your holidays. Mo, thank you so much for joining us here today. We're so happy you could be with us.
I just love you all, and I cannot believe there are 92 of you that you would spend time with me. I just can't believe it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mo. Well, enjoy the rest of your day and happy holidays to you and your family as well.
Keep
Bye, everyone.
smiling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you.
God bless you, Mo.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
And
Mo.
everybody pray for Enos Cantor, because, you know, he's now one of us. He's
Go
a
Celtics.
citizen.
He's awesome. He's awesome. I'm a Boston Celtics fan.
Go
Oh,
Celtics.
I just love him, and I'm glad he's on the Celtics, because they should do well this year, and I want him to succeed at a high level. He's my inspiration. Bye, you all.
Bye-bye.